I just want to share with you briefly the purpose of the Hebrew alphabet and the Hebrew numbers mathematics. All right. Whereby we look at a number, see what that number represents numerically within the Hebrew alphabet, and use words and values from that word to get a deeper meaning. And I'll give an example in a minute. The first and foremost important purpose is to develop a proficiency of the 22 Hebrew letters, their meaning, as well as their value. And once you understand that, you can move to the second step, which is to be able to decipher words and numbers, words and numbers in their basic natural form. Now, once you can decipher words and numbers in their basic natural form, you will be able to accomplish the third purpose, which is to use concrete letters to develop expansive and abstract thinking on a holy subject matter. Right? I'm giving an example. Let's look at the words for what it means in Hebrew to count, for the word book. As a matter of fact, the word book and the word count have the same three letters in Hebrew, as well as the word for a man that writes down the words of a book, a scribe. All right. So the first letter is going to be the samak. Okay. The second letter is going to be pa or pe. Okay. Which is representing a mouth. And the third letter is going to be a resh, or a head, ra'ash, you could say also. Right now, the value of the samak is 60 in the Hebrew system. The value of the pa is 80, and the value of the rash is 200. When you add those together, you get 340. Now you add 3 and 4 together, you get the number 7. The seventh position in the Hebrew alphabet is the letter known as Zayin or Zayan, which is a weapon. So here we have that knowing how to count, knowing how to read, knowing how to process a book, knowing how to keep records of dates and records of numbers and records of words is a weapon, which is where we get the phrase from, that knowledge is power, which is where they get the saying from. If you want to hide something from people, but you want other people to have access to it, you put it into a book, because nobody's going to think to look into a book to get the information that they need. So the words for counting, for a book, and the words for people that count and the people that put books together is called, that word is represented by the value of a weapon, because all the words and all of the letters in that word and all of the words in that word add up to the number 7 as a weapon. Now, if you look at the words themselves, the first letter, samak, represents a support. It's a vertical, like a vertical pole with 3 horizontal lines going across it. The second part of it is going to be, as a matter of fact, it's kind of like an abacus with open ends. The second letter of it is going to be a pa, which is a mouth. Third letter is going to be ra'ash or rosh, resh, which is a head. So you have a support for mouth and head. So you have a support for your mouth and for your head. A support for your mouth, what you speak, what you say, and a support what you speak and what you say coming from your head and putting it into your head that has all of your 4 senses. Using those to put information into your head to be able to come out of your mouth, to be able to have a support for things that you're doing, things that you're saying, so it all fits together. So these concrete concepts can give you an abstract and expansive way of thinking about holy subjects, as we see with the word for Sefer or Sefer or Sapar, all right, as we see for that particular set of three numbers, or, which is 60, 40, and 200. And then you get into the support, the mouth and the head. And then you have the support, which is standing firm and it has like little flags on it, and people can see it moving in the wind. All right, almost like a beacon, or this is who I am, what I represent. And after that, you have a mouth, which represents talking. Usually, it also represents eating, but open mouth represents talking. Closed mouth usually represents eating. Okay, so you have an open mouth, which represents talking, and then you have the head. So the talking and what you're saying is helping the support that you have, and the talking that you're doing is helping this information go into your head, which ultimately leads you to be a rosh, or a ra'ash, or head, in another sense of leadership. So this is just a basic way to show you how, when you become proficient at these 22 letters and you understand their meanings and their values, as I just demonstrated, you can decipher the word as I just did. You can decipher the numbers like I just did in their basic natural form. Didn't do nothing fancy.